I hope
Well,
everything is going good, you know?
it's good. I'm glad that you were able to make it. I've been watching your videos, and we've seen a lot of your videos over the last couple of weeks. You know, you pop up quite a bit. I saw you defend me sometimes, and it's great to meet you, man. I like your content.
MashaAllah. No, yeah, I think you're worthy of being defended, to be honest. And since your manager he reached out to me, I like done some research about you. You know, that's something I like to do. You know, I psychoanalyze people sometimes. You know, so that's some research about you, your audience, this and that, to try to get an idea of what you guys do. You know, but yeah, like I think you're worthy of being defended. And I was mentioning this to your manager yesterday. It's you speak about Islam. You try to do da'wah to multiple different people. I've noticed that you're doing da'wah to like different creators. You're posting when you go doing the prayer, you know, you're pressing your cameraman, trying to make him become a Muslim, you know. So these type of things, or you're
Yeah.
collaborating
He's
with
still
Sheikh
a Christian. He's
Uthman.
afraid. He's like a white American, so he's afraid of coming to Islam. But I think I was like too pushy with the dawah. I noticed since like
Yeah.
I've been trying to do a lot of dawah that you can't be too pushy. You just have to kind of just have an open heart and then let people find it themselves. You gotta like it's like trapping a rabbit. You know, you put like little pieces of carrots and then you let them go nibble it themselves, and then the crate falls on top of the rabbit. But I've been a little bit too pushy, and then they get all scared. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. So the thing with I was just saying the other things that you're doing, for example, like collaborating with Sheikh Uthman, like our brother, the Warner, these type of brothers, right? So there's a lot of things that you're doing. Like, so yeah, the da'wah, like, it's just like you said, you know, look, there's a lot of people who confuse da'wah with debate. This is not the same thing.
No, not
So
at all. That was just
da'wah
spreading
in
the
the
message of Islam. Habib had a great statement. He said that non-Muslims, they don't read Hadith, they don't read Quran, they read the Muslims. So all you could do is be the best representation of Islam that you can and how beautiful it is. But and people in the chat are saying like they're trying to like set a division. I consider like Andrew Tate is a Muslim brother of mine. I don't really like to. Everybody has a different relationship with Allah and a different relationship with Islam and how they spread it. I don't think there's any point for them to try to pick sides.
You know, the interesting thing is I've made a video about him when he went to prison. I defended him, right? Way before, when everyone was against him, I defended him. I still even have some shorts maybe talking about him, alhamdulillah, that when he was released and this and that. So I've got zero enmity or hatred or anything against him, right? But I'm talking about the public sphere, right? How much the person pushes like the idea of Islam. Like, for example, how much you speak about Palestine, these type of things, right? These issues are very, very important. And I understand he has a lot more pressure than you as well. We have to be honest. I think where he is, he's got a lot more pressure than you do. So perhaps that could be one of the reasons why he's not doing as much, right? But my point is about you now, it's not about him, is that you are worthy of being supported, is what I'm trying to say. I think publicly Muslims, especially people who have platforms, people who are following you, which is what I was telling them, right? They should be more supportive of what you're doing, right? Like, and your manager telling me like you're rejecting gambling deals for millions of dollars. I think many of these Muslims watching you, criticizing you, if they had the same option, they would take that gambling deal. You know, many people would. Like, I'm not saying everyone watching you, but I would say a lot of people would, right? Because you can speak easily and say, "Yeah, I'm not going to do it." But when the money is in front of you, it's a different story, right? When someone is telling
Yeah.
you literally, just sign here and you'll get the money, right? So I think this is something that you should be supported for. Of course, they have their criticisms, and like nobody is perfect. There are certain things that are not Islamic that you could be doing on your streams, this and that. But this is the thing. This is the environment that you're in. Like, what you're trying to do from from my like humble point of view is you're trying to be a Muslim within like Satan's world, right? You're trying to be like the person who calls people to good within a world that is run by Satan, right?
Yeah.
So everyone around you is essentially doing things which are haram, right? And if you want to collaborate with other people, this is essentially their content. This is what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's almost impossible to. I think I push a lot of people away because then I end up becoming like the influencer embodiment of the haram police, which you see a lot on Twitter. Like people will have debates for 3-4 days straight about a mother posting a picture of her belly. You know, it's a baby bump, which in my opinion
Yeah,
is not that big of a deal. But the haram police is so strong online that it ends up like it ends up taking up so much conversation for days on end, and then that turns people away so much more than it brings people in. When people see like Muslims arguing over a baby bump, it's just confusing to the non-Muslim, and I think it's a giant waste of time. But when I try to get closer to Allah and get closer to Islam, I think I become more polarizing, and also people see it like I'm getting on a moral high ground, and I think that I kind of turn people away, especially when it's like what I stand for. Even today, I tweeted ban porn on Twitter. I think that porn should be banned on Twitter, and I think a lot of people agree with that. But then at the same time, I think about all the influencers that I am, close with and would consider like online friends. they are in relationships with girls who do porn or do OnlyFans or do stuff like that, and then they see what I'm just talking about, and that drives a wedge in between me and them, and they kind of they're like, oh, this guy, like, does he think he's better than me? So it's very difficult to be on your deen and to stay halal in this world, because everything is pushing you to just be, a pimp, a prostitute, a gambler, a degenerate selling alcohol, things like that. And I like a lot of these people, but I don't agree with what they do. And I think that when they see me speak against these things, they think that I'm speaking against them specifically. When I'm not speaking against them, I'm speaking against things that I know are destroying their souls.
Like my analysis of you is a bit like I've had that analysis of you, you can say, right? Like I can say that you're a person who's genuine, and this is not like it's not it's not praising you, but I can see that you trust people, for example, people in your circuit, people in the stream world, this and that. You'll trust them. You'll try to be genuine with them. You'll try to defend them when they're not there, and you're not gonna get the same treatment from them, right? Because those people don't view you the same way you view them. This genuineness or being a trustworthy person towards other people is not necessarily always you're not always going to get it from the opposite side. So I can see that side of you. You care about speaking the truth. For example, you getting canceled from social media, specifically YouTube and every other platform right now. You're doing this on Rumble, right? And I think it's very important that when you do these types of podcast or conversations, whatever you want to call it, that you say in the beginning of the conversation that you are doing it on Rumble. Because what happens most of the time is that people clip or take your video and post it somewhere else. And if you don't mention it, if you don't speak about it, within you speaking to that individual, people think that you're a YouTuber, you're on TikTok, you're this, that. While in reality, someone else is doing that content for you, right? So I think it's important to mention it, just like we did right now, right? So you can be too trusting of people, but I think you've got some things there. Like, for example, you want to be appreciated for speaking about the truth. And I think something you need to understand is that people who speak the truth are always being fought throughout history. You look at the prophets of God, you look at the best people who done well. You talk about Malcolm X a lot. You can see how his life was, how much fighting he had to do, right? So do not expect people to be welcoming of you when you speak about the truth. I think it's something that you need to kind of internalize, that people are not going to like you if you speak about the truth, right? And my advice, honestly, is that you understand that most people are robotic, kind of, right? They're essentially brainwashed by what they see around them.
They're
So what
bots.
you have to, yeah. So what you have to do in a way. So what you have to do in a way. So I'm on YouTube, for example, but I have to be very careful with the phrasing that when I talk about certain issues. For example,
When you talk
LGBT.
about Zionism, that's what you mean. You can't say that word. You can probably say free. You stick to Palestine instead of criticizing Israel too much.
No, I do actually, I do, but I do it in a smart way. This is the thing. So I've got like 3 or 4 videos about. One of them actually was removed by YouTube, since you're talking about this, right? So one of them was removed by YouTube, right? But I know the reason it was removed. Like, but other videos where I speak clearly about them and what their plans are and everything like that, right? But I think first, I've built a platform and I've been speaking in a specific way that did not give me a negative persona in the YouTube community, right? Where YouTube is targeting me or looking at everything, how I say it or how I don't say it. And I'm very careful, like when I talk about the gays, this and that, anyone, which people we Islamically, we do not agree with these specific practices. I do speak about them, right? If you check my channel, you'll see I speak about people who are communities. I spoke with lesbians, transgenders. I spoke with everyone, right? I spoke with people I spoke with IDF soldier, right? Who accepted Islam, which was a bit surprising even
I
for
saw that.
me.
That was really cool.
Yeah, that video went so viral that even in the Arab world, everyone, my parents, people around me sent me videos like, you're on Al Jazeera or this or that. It's like, but yeah, that person, he came and he was very angry, right? So if you give him the same energy, talking about da'wah and how da'wah is done on this, if I were to give him the same energy from the beginning, this would have been a shouting match between me and him, right? He's already has trauma, he's already had issues, this and that. So if you give him the same energy, it would have been like a disaster. It's not what you're trying to do. Of course, I started the video by speaking about facts and how the took over Palestine, how they came from 1917, all of these things, which is history, which is very important, which most people don't know. So what I want to say to you is this: is that you have to be very careful in your way. Like, okay, you speak in the truth, but you have to kind of be careful in the way that you speak the truth, right? You have to kind of make it in a way which most of these people that you call bots, right? You just call them bots. These bots are receptive to it.
Yeah.
They're not repelled by it; they're more receptive to it. So your way has to be very intelligent, very smart. Your demeanor, these type of things. I think it's very important. Like, and this is one of the things that, for example, that the quote unquote red pill community that overlooks, right? Oh no, it's facts. Just say it's facts. That's not the case, right? That's not how human beings function,
Yeah.
right? That you just be. We are humans, and we've got intellect and we've got emotions. Okay, yeah, men are more on the rational side, this and that, but they also got emotions, and they also react towards things, right? That are if they shock them in a specific way. So I don't agree with this type of idea, that right. And I think it's very important, right? That you're very clear about what you say. You try to tailor it in a way in which you will be more suitable for these type of audiences. You can speak about the truth,
Yeah.
but in
But
that
do you
way.
think the best method, I've seen it, people in the love speech community saying that, oh, my motto is seek truth through funny. So I should probably turn it down and just be more lighthearted and be funnier with it instead of like, I think people are kind of repelled. They think that I'm immediately going to be like, what do you think about Palestine? Like when they're at like a Super Bowl game or something like that. And I can understand why people think that, because I like to, I do like to have uncomfortable conversations and ask questions that get people, like, spark a real discussion. I think a lot of conversations and small talk is just a giant waste of time. People talking about the weather, talking about celebrity drama. People talk about stupid things. I want to talk about something that's more interesting, but I think it's important to bring a comedic element to it. And I think what happened over the past couple of years is seeing what's going on in Gaza, seeing what's going on in the world, and who controls the world, what they're trying to do to us, and everything that they're promoting. It's kind of hard to have a lighthearted view all the time because things are getting really serious really quickly. The world is so far polarized and is becoming so crazy that it's crazier than anything fiction. It's crazier than anything on net. You can't watch TV anymore. No movies are really interesting because the world is crazier than anything you could write. And that's why it's kind of hard to, be like, hey, when you actually know what's going on in the world. But it's really necessary to hold that mentality so that you can be more receptive and open to people. And you're right, like, people who are speaking the truth, the people that I look up to the most are the most criticized and scrutinized people. They murdered Malcolm X. So I have to understand that if I have an actual message within a world where it's all clownery and it's all degeneracy, that this is inevitably going to happen. But what's your it seems like you have a pretty good idea of my career. I do want to ask you some questions, but what has your analysis been on the outside looking in about my career and about everything that you're seeing happen right now? Because I don't know if you've been paying too close attention, but I've noticed in the past couple weeks, past couple months, especially when I started following the dean, and I left a lot of things behind, especially this year. I've noticed more temptations from Shaitan at every single angle. I've noticed them try to, like, as soon as I get closer to Allah, I've noticed them Shaitan try to drag me down more and more and more. It's like when I was within that world, I didn't notice the pull as much, but as I started getting away from that, it's like they're trying to claw me back more and more and more. And I know that the Love Speech community sees it, and that's the people who watch the streams. And also at the same time, people that I've known for a long time are starting to ignore me, starting to push me away. They're trying to. I've noticed more censorship and more people trying to shut me out. I don't know what you've seen about that.
Okay, so I want to say something interesting first. Is that, do you remember a video that I reacted towards? One of your when you were speaking to that person from Fresh and Fit, right? What's Myron, his name, right?
Yeah.
You were speaking to him, and I was reacting to what you were saying about everything being haram, right? And something interesting I said in that video is when you are in a specific world where everything you do or everything around you is haram, then you find everything haram, right? And when you are in a different world with everything around you is halal, or people are always doing things which are halal, it's not as difficult as you may think it is, right? So it just depends on where you position yourself. You're talking about where I see you. Of course, I've done some research about you. Where I see you is that you've matured a lot. I think you've matured a lot from where you used to be. Your behavior have matured a lot, and I think people like they like to make fun of certain things that you've done in your past. They hold against you, right? This is the thing about Islam, the uniqueness of Islam, right? I know that you're gonna talk about it now, isn't it? That's why you're looking at it, right? So the uniqueness of Islam, I can read you, So, but the uniqueness of Islam is this: is that Allah forgives someone's past. This is something important, but this is also a lesson for people. Is the internet is always there, and people are always gonna keep hunting you for that. But the truth is, you have matured a lot, honestly. And people can look at your videos, they can look at your behavior, even 3 years back, 4 years back, right? Now you're talking about people ignoring you and stuff like that. I've noticed as well. I've seen that clip that you talk about, probably talking about speed and that other
No,
person. Who
it's
was
not
with
just
him.
that. It's everything. I mean, that's a good example, but that's happened maybe 3-4 times in the past couple of weeks. That exact
Okay.
scenario.
Yeah, so I was gonna like talk about these two specifically. Is because like Speed, for example, he came to the Dawah table as a funny interaction one time, right? I didn't even know who he was, right? But he came to the Dawah table one time. I had a very quick conversation with him, right? But I've kind of noticed what kind of a person he is, what his fan base is. I think these people, like people who are on the level of these type of streamers, they have like a sort of a belief that they are some worthy of worship in a specific way, right? If someone were to prostrate to them in the street, it would not really affect them that much. It's something would be normal for them. That someone would literally would do sujood or prostrate to you when you're walking, right? I think these people think they are on a level in which you are not on that same level. I'm telling you honestly, 100%. And I think you are trying in a way also to be a part of that group or or that this league. Let's put it the elite league, right, in the social media kind of or streaming kind of world, right? And I don't think they see you as one of them, and I think that is the main reason why they would not interact you in that specific time, right? Because okay, you're not one of us, and don't act as if you're one of us in a way. And look, I've had this experience before, right? And this is not, you can imagine, even in a da'wah kind of setting, before I like was doing things online and this and that, there are people in the da'wah who might believe they're better than other people, right? They would not say it, but it is their behavior. Like, for example, this person is not going to come to us with us in this specific dinner, right? Why? Who are you? If you're speaking in a group chat, for example, and you mention something towards that individual, he would respond by "Who are you?" Like I've had things like this, right? So there are sometimes people because of quote unquote what they think they've achieved in life, they genuinely think they are on a better level than you are,
They think that
and
they should be worshipped.
exactly, and they think they're better than you. So why are you trying to? It's like you're trying to stick yourself, or you're trying, to hold my leg. Where you're like, well, who are you? You're just a peasant, in a way, in a way, these people look at you that way. It's honestly they do, right? So, and now, like when the person reaches, my advice is to ignore these people and work on yourself, right? This is why I did. I didn't even care about what these people did. Now you've got these people, the same people that I'm referring to. They send me messages like, "Come on my stream, come on my podcast, do this, do that," because these people they've seen you now. They've become irrelevant in a way, and you've surpassed them in that which they themselves do. So I think the best statement to make is to focus on yourself and to improve yourself and reach the best levels that you can, right? Because you don't need anyone in reality. You don't need
Yeah,
anyone. You have
I see what you're saying, and I agree in a lot of ways. But people keep telling me that it's like, oh, stop looking for these people's validation. You don't need them, and you're right. Like I don't need any man's validation. All I need is Allah. But a lot of these people that are doing it, and it's not just one, it's many people. I would say 3, 4 that have had that interaction with, and it's people that I've known for years. It's not just like it's not like a fan interaction. It's people that I've known for a long
yeah.
time, and now they
Yeah,
that
so there is something else now linked to it as well. So that is the first part that I'm saying, right? That could be some of them. The other part is that you are actually at risk for money for that. You're posing a risk. Now you've got a persona now on social media. Like reality you're cancelled. I'm sure people were afraid to perhaps bring you on some of their podcasts on YouTube because you're cancelled. And they may have even told you that oh, you're cancelled. We're worried about YouTube. We're worried about this. We're worried about that. So I think for them first, because these people also look okay, they have this God complex, if you want to use that term, whatever term you want to use, and this God complex comes from the fact that they are who they are on social media, and they are who they are because of the money that comes in, because of the all of this content that they're producing. So if you pose a risk to whatever gives them the source of their ego, so whatever literally gives them the God complex, of course they're not going to want to associate with you, right? So
yeah.
if me bringing you on my stream is going to be equal to me being like looked at as whatever it is, whether the people who label you with the red pill and all of that, and you're being like a misogynist and women hater, all of these stuff, or the people who view you as someone who just speaks about controversial issues to do with like vaccines or this or that, or people who view you that what you talk about the who runs the world, in quotation marks, right? And all of these different type of things. Whichever these are all problems, right? And these are all things you've either talked about in the past or you are talking about right now. And okay, they would talk to you in a private level, but when it comes to a public level, you're
Yeah.
risk.
Yeah,
You're
I
risk.
know. Privately, they've interacted with me, and then when they see the camera, it's like it turns out like people that I spoke to literally the day before. They see the camera on, they act like I don't exist. It's incredible to see.
You are a risk, as I said to you.
Yeah.
The people you'll find who will be most welcoming and most happy to talk to you publicly are the most genuine people, number one. And number two, the people who are actually interested in things that you talk about, that they themselves also talk about. So I think it's the best types of collabs that you should be looking for. people who kind of share the same worldview, same ideas, this and that, things which are beneficial, people who are willing, okay, look, you're willing to do it, let's do it. You're not willing to do it, it does not matter. In reality, you bring a lot of benefit. Like you don't see your value as well. You've got a lot of benefit. You've got a lot of movement. You've got a lot of people. A lot of people know you, right? People know who you are. They listen to you. They would watch your content. Even if they hate you, maybe they watch you the most, you know. But in
Yeah.
reality, they do. Yeah, they do watch your content. So you've got also this kind of pull. You've got this movement. You've got all of this like persona. You've got these things which are good that I don't think you should, as I was saying, you just focus on yourself, work on yourself more. I think you'll do a lot better than what you're doing. But where I see you going right now, because that was your question, is very good. Is I think you continuing in that path, but sticking on that path because it can be very difficult, as you said. Now, when you start doing good, now all the back comes to you. You don't go to it; it comes to you. You know that's the interesting thing, right? You don't even need to do anything. Like the women will come, the things will come, everything will come, right? And because I'm in a similar position to what I'm telling you, I know how it works, right? You will get the bad coming to you. I'd be like just average man sitting on the dawah table. You get a crazy woman walking by trying to give you a flower. Like, who are you? I don't even know who you are. Like, I never see you in my life, right? So you've got these things. Why the shaitan tries to put these things in front of you. Not only that, but it's also tests from Allah. The Allah said, "Ibnasu an yutraku an yaqulu amanna." Do people think they will be left to say we believe and they will not be tested? We've surely tested those who came before them, right? So these are also, this life is a test. You're here, you're here. The reason we
Yeah.
are here, you're here,
Everything
I'm
is a
here. We're being
test.
tested.
Everything is a test.
Yeah.
That's the only way I see it now. Like the hardships that I notice more of them come. Like as I start to progress more and start to do better in life, I notice Allah gives me more tests. And that's how I see all hardships. I don't see it as like oh, I'm a victim. I just see it as like, oh, this is another test that I need to pass. This is another step that Allah wants me to take.
Yeah, this is it. Look, as long as you look at it this way. But I was also speaking to your manager about that yesterday. It was something very important. We need to understand why we're here, like what we're doing in this life, right? You need to understand what is your ultimate goal. This is a question from me to you right now, right? What is your ultimate purpose right now? What you're trying to achieve as Nico living in this world right now? What you're doing with your life? What are you trying to achieve? What do you think is important?
What do I think is important is I think it's important to spread truth. If you have a platform, it's important to, especially if you have a voice, free speech is the only thing that can crumble tyranny. That's the only thing that could really stop evil in the world. Is that you need to have people talking about it first. But I think the only way people are able to digest the truth is through comedy. So I think you need to seek truth through funny. That's what I believe. People aren't going to be receptive. People are not going to listen if you're not captivating, if you're not entertaining. So I think that's an extremely, and also I noticed that people don't listen to you unless you have any credibility, unless you're out in life doing things. So I think it's extremely important to have experiences, to be around different people, to have accomplished something, because that adds more weight to what you talk about. But what I think I'm supposed to be doing is spreading truth. I think it really goes down to that.
Yeah, I want to say one thing before I just analyze what you've just said. Before
Yeah.
that, I want to mention something about like prove you want to prove something, you want to do something, people respect you through doing that. I've noticed like you've had this like fight with this individual or a spar or whatever it was. This individual called Sean something, right? Who was a world champion, right?
Yeah.
From me, from my perspective, I think the struggle that is valued the most is the struggle with purpose. If the purpose of you going in that ring is for people to respect you, I think you've got a wrong perspective of how people should respect you. Like, for example, I would respect a soldier who lost his arm because of the reason he lost his arm. He was defending his country, defending his family, whatever he was
Well,
doing,
he
right?
thinks he was
Yeah.
defending his country, but in reality, he's fighting a war that's one giant money funneling scheme in order to get oil, or it's a money laundering, it's a proxy war. A lot of soldiers believe that they're doing something good, and I guess that there could be respect there, but that doesn't actually. It doesn't.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not really referring to the US, right? I'm just speaking in general. Let's say for a Muslim, I'm really thinking from an Islamic perspective here, right? I can see you looking at it from US. I'm not even in the US, but I understand what you're saying, right? Like we're saying, for example, a Muslim soldier, right, who is fighting, like someone who's fighting, you can say right now in Palestine or any place, right? He's fighting for truth, right? So if that person has something that is negative physically that happens to him, I respect him because of the reasoning that he had behind that struggle that was done. But look, this interaction that you had with this specific individual, he's of course he's mentally, he's got some mental issues, of course, to behave the way he behaved. But okay, the end result is not good. Like that could have done, and you imagine who's mentioning, and I hope you're good now
No, I'm
because he was
fine. I'm
mentioning
fine.
last time.
I was a
Yeah,
little dizzy,
inshallah.
but I'm okay. The reason I accepted that fight was for a couple. I wanted to just do content with him, and he had a certain perspective on influencers, and especially it goes back to what you were saying about a lot of influencers wanting to be worshipped. His point of view, and I think the normal person's point of view, even if they might like an influencer, is that they see through the veil. A lot of influencers want to be worshipped. If somebody prostrates and prays to them literally, they see it as normal. I've had that happen, and I tell them get up. I tell them to not do that. Like that, I think that's extremely disgusting. That's the biggest sin is shirk. I'm against that completely. And so I saw his point of view, and I think I accepted that for a couple of reasons. One, because that's his profession. Two, because I accept a good challenge, and three, I think it symbolized the equal level playing field that we need to see. That like we're humans too. Just because we have fans or something like that, or like people think we're famous, or people might like all the worship. Like at the end of the day, when you get in the cage, when you get in the octagon, we're equal. It's just man versus man. There's no whatever clout you have is irrelevant. Whatever background you have is irrelevant. You're just there as a man, and you see if you're going to be able to survive or not. And I think that would be. It wasn't just to get respect so that I could speak more. It was also so that people can understand that we're all equal.
Yeah, but I want you to think about what you said, right? Analyze what you've said. Like first, you've said what his profession.
I know.
Is that a good? Look, you already know. Like
you're good. You're good. I hear how you're responding while I'm saying what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Look, you know it, so I don't even need to say it, right? Because in the end, look, you can achieve all of these goals in a much better way. Like for me, if for example, if something were to happen to you and you were to actually die, and this is very possible, right? We're not talking about a very hypothetical thing here. The way he dealt with you could have died in that ring, right? Now, your mission of what you said you want to do, which I asked you about in the beginning, right? Seeking truth, spreading the truth, or any of that, would have stopped. For what? So you can whatever his profession, whatever like things that you were just saying, right? It is not worth it, and it is not a smart decision to do. It's not a smart decision to take. You've done it already in the past, but what I'm talking now from an analytical point of view is that you could achieve all of these things that you talked about without specifically doing that thing with someone who's got some mental illness. How he behaves with a normal individual in comparison to someone else in the cage. These are two separate things, right? So that's something maybe to think about, right? Now, when it comes to what you said before about like spreading truth, right? The question is, what is the truth? Like, I think what you're missing in your brand is the following: is what is the ultimate truth? The ultimate truth is not to say who's running the world, right, or who's not running the world. Like, for example, you talk about these type of things, who did and this and that. Okay, why did they do? What is the real reason they did?
To justify going to war, to get American support in the Middle East in order to support Israel, because a lot of the Muslim countries were starting to get really angry about Israel. So getting Americans to start to hate Muslims and to try to pinpoint the Muslim as the evil person. Yeah.
So we're reaching it now. So it's a lot more than what you've said, which is political things, which is mostly for the U.S. It's a lot more. There is an attack on the religion itself, on the truth. If you talk about the truth now, you want to spread the truth and talk about the truth. The ultimate truth is God. It's not the red pill, which we can talk about and tell you my criticisms of it if you like, which I think is a little contradictory, but we can talk about it in a bit, right? But truth is not the red pill, which they are trying to say it is the truth, right? By giving you the red pill and all of this analogy of the Matrix. It's coming from this idea, right? Yeah. Truth is not the red pill. Truth is not like talking about.
You're right. Truth is God. Truth is God. But when I say who controls the world, I say it because people that serve Satan, people that serve Shaitan control the world. So I think that does prove the truth even more. And that's why people see the bitterness is because when you see that people that serve evil, people that serve the devil control the world, I think that's an important part to realizing. And that's how I realized that God is real. I was an atheist until I realized that these people are doing Shaitan's bidding and they control the world. And I was like, okay, well, if they are doing that, then God must be real.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this, is I'm saying the ultimate truth being God. In this case, Islam, because God is not just a term that you can follow anything and you can get guidance, right? In this case, we're talking about Islam, right? So if the truth is Islam, or specifically guidance coming from God that people should follow, I'm telling you, I'm claiming any truth that you would find in the red pill, that you'd find in any of the things that you're talking about, would already be found in that guidance. This is my ultimate criticism, right? Every ideology other than Islam, and this is a claim I'm going to make, every ideology other than Islam will be a combination of truth and falsehood. And whatever truth is found in the ideology other than Islam will already be present in Islam. So it would not make any sense for me to follow an ideology that is a mixture of truth and falsehood, like the Red Pill or other ideologies, and leave that thing which is ultimate perfect truth completely. Right? So this is the point that I'm trying to make. So the ultimate truth is what we should actually be thinking about. So if you believe the ultimate truth is Islam, as you said, God, you believe the ultimate truth is Islam, then the ultimate decisions should be for the afterlife, not for this life. The ultimate decision making should not be like the Red Pill pushes or if this any of these ideologies pushes, is that you need to make money in this world. You should make money from an Islamic point of view. You should be the provider for your family. That's something that you should do. But that's not the ultimate end goal. That's not the ultimate end goal, right? So I know you're busy with your chat now, thinking what they're saying, right? But
No. I'm listening. I'm listening.
Yeah. Yeah, so I want you to think that way as well for yourself, right? Is that the ultimate end goal is not necessarily making money.
It's not in this life. It's that everything in this life is a test, and that everything that we do here is in order to get to Jannah. That's the ultimate truth.
Yeah, but how do you get to Jannah, right? We speak about the good deeds that we do in this life, right? So you look at it from this like financial point of view. Like you do things, your money, your bank account increases in money, right? You're getting more money. You count it in the idea, okay? You're increasing in that score. But when you die, where is that money gonna go?
It goes wherever. You can't
No,
take
no,
it.
ask you. No. Let's take it one step right now. You, Sneeko. If you die today, where is your money gonna go?
It goes to my family.
How do you know that?
Why I set up? I set something up.
So okay, you've got other way, like which most people wouldn't do, right? Okay, so at least you set up something, right? Yeah. Okay, your money will go to your family. Okay. Most people, if they were to die in the moment that they are living in, the money would probably be taken by the bank. They don't even know where the wealth is gonna go. But all of the work that you've done in your life is now okay. Is that money? Now, what is going to come is eternal life. It's literally eternal life. It's a never ending life. So what have I prepared is the question that I want to ask. What have I prepared? What is the currency that I can use in the afterlife for the everlasting life? That I want to be in a good position in the everlasting life. I think that's something you need.
The currency you can use in the afterlife. Are you asking me? Is the answer good deeds? Is doing good things in order to...
Yeah, look, the most important thing is no currency will be valid unless you die as a Muslim. That's the first thing that we need to understand. The card that will make you that you can use for the currency is Islam. No other religion is accepted in the afterlife. That's clear in the Quran. Allah says, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. Whoever seeks a religion other than Islam is not going to be accepted from him. And Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّ الدِّينَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الْإِسْلَامِ. Verily, the only religion is acceptable for us in the sight of God is Islam. And anyone watching, Christian, Jew, anything, you're welcome to come to my channel, watch my discussions with Christians, with Jews, and you will watch your religion crumble. I'm saying this with all the respect, right? But just to put this...
Now they're going to start debating in the chat. I like to... what I've been thinking a lot recently, I like to dial it back, and because I'm not a Muslim scholar, I think it's better that people have religion than have nothing. And so I think it's much better that people are Christians, Jews, Hindus, than being nothing, because they're at least a step closer than most people. So I think it's good.
Yeah, a Christian.
Yeah, as long as they believe something.
A Christian or a Jew is better than atheists from an Islamic perspective. And the Quran calls them the people of the book. And Allah says the Christians are the closest people to the Muslims. These are all facts, right? But also, we don't want to water down things too much to make people assume and think that, okay, you're fine as a Christian for the afterlife. You are, look, me saying that you're better than an atheist, Hindus are like the atheists for us from an Islamic point of view, the polytheists, right? Yeah. So we saying that you're okay as a Christian gives them this false belief that it's okay for me to die in that state. No, okay, you're better than an atheist. That does not mean that you're safe for the afterlife, right? You need to revise, to look into things. Okay, people who are laymen, I don't believe they should be debating these issues in your comment section. That doesn't go anywhere most of the time, right? The people need to study for themselves. They need to do research themselves, right? I'm not necessarily trying to convince you. You've done your own research, right? And the other person, he's done his own research. What I'm asking everyone watching is to do the research. It's not necessary to accept what I'm saying.
In my experience, they don't do the research. Instead, they just keep debating, and they go on endless debates nonstop. So I kind of see it as from my point of view, I'm not saying what you do is a waste, but I see it as kind of counterintuitive, because when you try to say something like that, they build more defensive blocks, and they'll just keep debating nonstop. Like things that have never seen debated correctly, like the Trinity. Like people will just find any sort of like weird justification, and I think it's better to leave it. But that's my point of view.
Remember what we said in the beginning. There's a difference between da'wah and debate. Like if people watch my content, they will understand the difference between the two. So for example, there are people, as you said, who are putting up a shield who are not really interested in the truth to begin with. Those people I don't engage with. I engage with people who are actually, what I was telling you, people who are actually doing the research, right? So they would ask questions and I would give them responses. This is how my interaction is usually with people. It's friendly, it's respectful. I do not curse anyone. I just do not speak bad about anyone. I've been doing this for years. I've not had any negative encounters with anyone, right? And I don't plan on doing so in the future. So what I'm saying is that people, as the Bible says, seek the truth and the truth shall set you free. So you should follow your Bible and seek the truth, right? And it says, come, let us reason together. So we come together in reasoning, and through reasoning, we'll reach the truth, right? This is what I'm recommending them do from their own scripture. Other than that, I'm not recommending anything else, right? Okay, but let's dial back and come back as well. The idea of free speech, because I would disagree with you on that as well. Like, I do not believe ultimate free speech is a good thing, and I think Twitter today is a perfect example of that. Okay, now even though it's not becoming absolute free speech anymore because Elon has turned into the the side of this and that, right? But okay, but anyways, why I say it's bad because now you will find literally the most vile, disrespectful individuals on this planet on that platform. Like you can compare your posts on Twitter to your posts on any other platform, any other social media platform. And look at the comment section. Look how people behave. Look how people speak. Look at their wording, their understanding. So we're talking about the truth. As I was telling you, there is a way of conveying the truth to people. Absolute freedom of speech is not necessarily a good thing. A good level of freedom of speech is accepted, right? We're talking about freedom of speech, but that's why absolute freedom of speech does not exist anywhere in the world. Tell me at any point in history where absolute freedom of speech ever existed.
It hasn't.
And it never will, because there
Yeah.
has to always be limits and boundaries. And that's what makes Islam. We don't have this idea of absolute freedom of speech. If it was as good as people claim it is, it would have done good for the world. Like, I'll give you an example. I was in a country, I'm not going to mention the country, but I was in that country. There was a leader. The leader was there for a few years, this and that, right? People started revolting against the country, right? Then the leader was removed. Then what did they do? A new leader was elected. They started complaining about him revolting again. Then they removed him. Then another leader came. They started doing the same thing. They're revolting against the individual, but the individual didn't let them. He sent the army, and then no one is able now to speak anymore, and now he's in power. And situation is far worse than it used to be in the past. So this idea of absolute, okay, let everyone speak. A lot of people are ignorant. A lot of people don't know what they're talking about. They should not have an opinion on matters which are not their specialty. That's why I disagree with this stupid idea of democracy and voting as well. Like, anyone should vote. Why should anyone vote?
You want complete Sharia law?
As a Muslim, do you know what the word Sharia means? There's a
It
question
means
for you.
Islamic law.
No, Sharia means pathway in the Arabic language, right? But it's used for pathway to water. Sharia is pathway to God. What I'm doing with you right now, it is literally pathway to God, right? It
So
is Sharia.
this is Sharia right now.
Yeah. So we're speaking to people about religion, about Islam. That's a part of the Sharia. So that's a negative
So
misconception.
what's the
that people
difference
have.
between Sharia and I don't have a negative misconception, but what's the difference between
Not you,
Sharia?
the people.
Right. What's the difference between Sharia and Dawah?
Sharia and Dawah.
Yeah.
So
What's the
Dawah
difference?
is a part of the Sharia. Sharia is the whole religion, right? All of the commands in the Quran and Sunnah and Islam, anything good that is tell you to do or to avoid, is considered Sharia from an Islamic point of view. But how the media uses it is hudud, which is punitive laws, right? This is how they use it. When they say Sharia law, they're referring to specifically punitive laws, right? Laws to do with like stealing, raping, or murder, all of these other laws, right? This is what they refer to, which has a term in Islam called hudud. Sharia is a more holistic thing. But now you're asking me, let me rephrase your question to you. Do you want God's law? Yes, of course I want God's law. Why would I want man-made law over God's law, right? Like, I'm just rephrasing your question to you because whose law is that Sharia? Whose law is it?
It's God's law.
Yeah,
Now
so
I understand your point. So I get a lot of these people in my chat. They say that democracy is gay and they want Taliban rule. Do you think that would be a better world?
well, Taliban I have criticisms of the Taliban, right? They're not doing things from a Sharia perspective as well.
Right,
And
but
this
would
is
that
the
be a
thing, right?
better alternative to democracy, just having Taliban rule?
Honestly, I do not know as much about them to give,
Okay.
but they are different. They're better than the US. There is no doubt about that. It's
Okay.
like that. Absolutely, they're better than the US. Look how the US is now. You can't even walk in the street. You cannot even walk in the street with your possessions now. You cannot even keep your car locked without your stuff being stolen from you. The people will steal things up to $1,000 in stores and they will not get punished of it. People are jumping from the borders every day, entering illegally in the country without any papers, and then everything is a mess in the US. Shootings, everyone has weapons, everyone shooting each other. Is this the tell me what is good about the law, the man-made laws that the US have invented or put? Look at a very funny law I'll talk about, which is a bit controversial. I know you chat like controversial stuff, right? So a funny law to talk about, for example, is the law of marriage, right? The age of marriage. Look at the states in the US This is now something I'm telling people to do. Just Google this. Every single state has a different law when it comes to
Age of consent. Yeah.
yeah, and not only the age of consent, but with the parent permission. What age is that also is different for every state. So the country itself cannot agree with itself on what is right or what is wrong. Let alone talk to other people about you should or shouldn't do. Every state has different laws when it comes to gun laws, abortion laws. The state is a mess. If you're asking me, the truth is the state is not a unity in any way, shape, or form. I view the state as every single state as its own country in a way. It's on a very small country that runs by itself. So yeah, okay, you give me a better alternative to the God's law, whatever you want to call it, Sharia, you want to call it whatever you want to call it. Give me a better alternative that will function in a better way, that will give society prosperity, happiness, and safety, and all of these different things. Give me an example.
It does not. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, so why are you asking me that? Of course, I need Sharia law, right?
Yeah.
If Sharia law is God's law, and look, this is what I was telling you. Anything that you'll bring, any ideology, and you're welcome to present any ideology that you'll present. The good things in this ideology will already be present in Islam. And the bad things in this ideology, Islam will not have it because Islam only has good, because it's divine law coming from the Creator. And that's why, look, I like, because I talked about the red pill before. Like, you've got feminism, for example, which is a horrible, terrible ideology. First wave, second wave, third wave, all of this nonsense, right? It had some reasoning behind it in the beginning, right, of how women were being treated, this and that, in the beginning. But it turned into this idea of hating man, of women. Just if you get naked, you're free somehow. I do not know if I take my clothes off now, I'm becoming free somehow. So this has become the ideology of feminism, right? Masculine women that hate the opposite gender, that believe they should become men in a specific way. This is the ideology. Now, the exact opposite of the ideology is the red pill. The red pill, in my view,
It's a reaction to feminism. It's male feminism.
Yeah, but how do the people in the red pill treat you, for example? Like, I believe in the past, because you talked about your trajectory. Before, in the past, you were not the same view about the red pill as you are today. You're in a bit different now to do with what they think about what they say. Like, you can speak about that more instead of me speaking about it on your behalf.
Yeah, it's a reaction to feminism, and I think it stems from a place of anger. I think it's It's like putting a band-aid over a wound instead of letting it heal. I think it's not realistic, and it's of this world. You know, it's against it's anti-Islam. It goes against what God wants of us, because people are angry about what happens today, and I think it leads men down a trap, and it's like a coping mechanism. I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of good things about it. It's better than feminism, but it's a temporary solution to a permanent problem.
And that's the thing. Anything that you find good in the red pill, and we can talk about it, because I do agree that there is a lot of good things that they speak about, realistic things, correct things that they speak about. And my claim is anything that is good will already be found in Islam. Otherwise, it would not even be good to begin with. Like, but my problem with the red pill is this: is like, it teaches you how to deal with the wrong type of women. The red pill, this is what makes the whole ideology crumble for me. The red pill only teaches you how to deal with the bad type of women.
Right. It doesn't tell you how to deal with good women.
No.
Yeah.
No. And if you deal with the good type of women the same way you deal with the bad type of women, done. This woman is not going to stay with you. She's not already corrupt with a baggage of trauma, being abused and used, and all of this nonsense in which you have to leave her on red and come.
It's designed to deal with women that are addicted to social media, to celebrities that have all these bodies, blah blah blah. That sex workers, bartenders, like, that's what it teaches you to deal with. To women who are in the club all the time,
and that sets you up for failure.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you why it sets you up for failure. The other self contradiction is it teaches you to see good women. So when it teaches you to marry good women, and then it teaches you all the ideologies of how to behave with the bad woman, you can never succeed. You can never work a good relationship with a good woman, because you've already lived all your life dealing with the bad type of women.
People in the red pill believe that there are no good women in the West. Like, that's why it exists, because like all women are broken.
Like, this is the other funny side of it. This is why we say it's the other coin of feminism, right? So as they hate the men, now the people of the red pill, most of them, right, they would hate the women. They wouldn't claim that they do, but they do. They would say, they would go to the definitions. What do you mean by misogyny? I don't hate women. Actually define the world. All of this, like, game play. But they actually look at women as inferior. Like, if you say, for example, women are not intelligent. Intelligence of a woman is not important. And I think that's very stupid to say. I want my wife to teach my children.
Yeah.
Who's going to teach my children when I'm outside? Like if you're working, let's say you're working and you are a provider, you provide for your family. Don't you want your woman to raise your kid the right way? If she's
Right.
like
Especially when they have
a
transgender people
brainless,
teaching the schools and kindergartens, or like, then you
yeah,
would not want. Yeah, no, I don't want a dumb wife at all. Actually, that's the number one thing that I disagree with the red pill. Like, oh, I just want like a stupid girl to cook, and no, like, intelligence is very attractive and a very important quality for a wife and mother.
and I would enjoy conversations with a woman that has a level of intelligence. I don't want just someone that I speak to who doesn't understand a word of what I'm saying, just completely stupid and dumb and doesn't understand. The important thing is how her body looks, blah blah blah. All of these things don't last.
No.
It literally don't last. Okay,
Yeah.
you would know this a lot more, right? You would know that the looks of a woman, okay, is there in the beginning. It never lasts. And my problem with them is they use religion when they like. Like, oh, yeah, Islam says four wives. It's the only thing they know
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah,
Islam, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
The only part
Yeah,
from Islam for them
yeah.
is the
Is the
idea of
four
marrying
wives.
more
Yeah.
than one woman, right? But in the same time, they would claim they believe in God, but they would say to you, our rules are better than God's rules. Like they would say religion, they would shame you. They would do the same tactics as they do with the feminists, or they claim the feminists do to them. They would shame you, call you tradcon, and all of these terms, right? This is a shaming tactic. Why don't you deal with what I'm talking about rather than using a shaming tactic like just they call you misogynist? You're doing the same thing, but the
Yeah.
opposite spectrum, right? So they use religion when it suits them, and they don't use it when it suits them. If it is from God, then God knows more than you and all of your red pill and all your godfathers of this or that, who were just born from a womb and they are deficient as you are. God knows a lot more, right? And also the other contradiction is it tells you to have intercourse with as much women, as many women as you can. In the
Yeah.
same time,
50.
tells you to seek. Yeah, it tells you to seek the women that have low body count. Where are you gonna find these ones?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
if everyone who follows this ideology, like,
It's
and he goes and has intercourse with every single woman out there, where are you gonna find these women that you're talking about? That's why these struggle in the US, living in the US, right? Because this is the case. Like people are having intercourse with a limited amount of women, and they lie and they claim it does not influence you as a man. It does. It does influence you as a man because we are very visual as human beings, and when we're used to have intercourse with multiple different people, then that you desire that more than someone who's not had a past of doing that same thing. They're a lot more likely to remain in monogamous relationship with their partner because they've not had that history, right? And look, another contradiction, and I'm going to end with that because I think it's full of contradiction ideology. I'm giving you the reasons why, right? But for example, the funny thing is they will try to use women's opinion when it suits them. So they will ask women questions, and when they give answers they like, they will, oh, like, that's good, that's good. And
right.
when they give answers they don't like, this,
Women
oh,
don't know
hi.
what they're talking about. Women are
Exactly.
emotional. They
They're
don't
all
know how to
saying the same
think. Yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
They're
You can't
following
trust
each
women.
other.
Women always lie.
Yes.
They don't. Yeah, you're completely
Exactly.
right. Yeah.
So they pick and choose in the opinion. Okay, if you think these women are less than you, and you think these women are not intelligent, then you asking them questions and then following their answers when they say them is contradicting what you were just telling us 5 minutes ago, right? So the ideology, look, is crumbling from all of these aspects. It has a lot of problems, but of course, it talks about good things. Now we talked about the bad things. There are good things. For example, it tells you to be a strong masculine individual, right? You have to be a strong man, a strong masculine individual. You have to provide, take care of your family. It teaches you that you have to be aware of certain behaviors of certain women, right? It teaches you about their mentality as well, a bit about their psychology. But all of these things are in Islam, and that's the
Yeah.
point I'm making. Is like, give me something that is not already there. Okay, I'm gonna say, okay, I like your ideology. Where is the truth that is there that is not in Islam? Islam have already told me anything you can or you would tell me, right? And that is not the case with any other religion. You're not gonna find these things that I'm telling you right now in Christianity. You're not gonna find them in other religions, and you only find them in Islam. So yeah, these type of look, any ideology. This is now seeking truth. If you seek in truth, then the truth is only one, and you doing your research will only lead you to that same source. There is no other sources, right? Any ideology that the people want to pick up, and look, they have a lot of conspiracy. Like, let's not call it's not conspiracies, but they use that term to make the people stay away from truth or avoid like researching certain issues. Like, it's just like they did with 9/11 and all of that, right? But the thing is, they did. You now being the person who's seeking all of these conspiracies and you think this is the end goal, you should think about what is their goal of targeting Islam. Why is the media talking about Islam? If you're saying the media is bought and sold by the specific group that runs the world, why is it day and night whenever something happens? Muslim done this, Muslim done this, Muslim. If he has an uncle of a nephew of a son of a grandfather who was a Muslim and he never followed Islam in his life, they will still put a Muslim did this, and that. So they can give you a bad negative view of what Islam does. And look, the people in chat, they would call other people bots, for example, or robots or this or that. But they are the same when it comes to Islam. Most of their comments about Islam and this and that is the same robotic things that every other single person says, that the media says, that the social media says, everyone says about Islam. Their critiques of Islam is not a critique of someone who actually read the scripture.
Yeah, I know.
So
The
if you
critiques are mostly, I consider them funny. I think a lot of them, the critiques are mostly just trolls. People say like, oh, they call me, they'd say you sleep with goats, like you like to sleep with camels, stuff like that. I just think it's funny. I don't really,
it's like I'm an Arab, for example, right? This is something you will never see live,
yeah,
you know.
I know. It's just,
So the only time we heard about these things is the people saying them online, you know. This
yeah.
shows the robotic mentality of these people, right? Because this is like so far away from reality of people. Is that you cannot be more a robot than this to say these claims against Islam or to have these criticism, right? At least up your game a little bit. Like when we criticize the Bible, for example, when I criticize the Bible, I talk about textual criticism. I quote about textual criticism. I quote textual criticism scholars. I talk about manuscripts. Talk about contradictions within the Bible, right? Talk about differences within the manuscripts. I talk about the identity of Jesus in the scripture. Why can't you do the same thing and try to critique the religion from its foundations rather than being like another robot who just say
Well,
camels and
I
this and
guess
that?
people are afraid to, what I think it really stems from, and I noticed this from, I've had Christians that ran away from debates or conversations that,
Uh-huh.
Christians that celebrate Hanukkah, and they were, I think a lot of Christians and
I think I know
Jews,
what you're talking about.
it's okay. They'll come around, but I think a lot of people are afraid to actually look at the Quran because they're
Mm.
afraid that they're going to change. I think they're afraid of that they're going to change their mind. I think I notice a lot of Muslims are like willing to learn, and in the Quran, it's important to like understand the other religions. But I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people who aren't Muslim, they're afraid to look at it because they don't want to change their point of view.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of stuck in their belief system, and I think I don't see it worth like trying to convince those people because eventually they'll come around, and I think it's a personal thing. I mean, that's what it was for me. It was like a personal journey because I had that. For it was a long time where I was afraid to. When I first read the Malcolm X autobiography, I had this inclination to become a Muslim, but I didn't want to fully dive in because I didn't want to like change my whole way of life and everything I was doing. It'd be too much of a change. So I think
Mm-hmm.
people are afraid to actually look at the scripture because they'd rather say something like, "Oh, you sleep with goats," to kind of to box it away rather than look at
Uh-huh.
it.
Yeah, look, I've seen some interactions with you and Sheikh Uthman with with a specific individual. Not, it's
Gideon,
better not
he's
naming
my
him.
friend Gideon. He's a good guy. He's a really good
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah.
I wish the best for
What
him.
I saw in that discussion, it was a debate about having the debate, and it was like, okay, what's the point of the whole long 1 hour discussion on a debate of trying to have a debate? What you can read from his body language from the first 5 minutes, if I speak to him, he was being very defensive. He was being emotional. He did not want to speak. Like for example, he was telling we're not going to speak about religion. We don't want to. So you're just in a way forcing that specific thing on him in a situation that he does not want to be, and it is definitely not the right time and not the right way to do it in that specific way. But what I'm saying is this: it is important to speak about truth. Like who is the best humans to walk the earth are the prophets of God.
Yeah.
Their mission was to speak
W
the truth to the
stipulation.
people, right? The mission was to tell the people about God. The mission was to tell the people about the truth. They did not say, let the people come to us as you're saying in a specific way. The problem is doing it in the wrong way. Doing it to someone who's not receptive of it, and we just mentioned an example. Someone who's not receptive. He's not in the mental state of having it. He's not receptive to it right now. He's already like, he feels like he held on to something and you're taking it away from him, right? So that is, this defensive mood is coming from that. He just held on to Christianity and you're trying to take it away from him. Like it's not going to happen. Let's just give him some time to rethink and this and that. And when he wants to do it, then you have a discussion with him, right? So the thing is, I think it's about doing it the right way. I think it's about doing it the right way, engaging with the people in the right way. There's a lot of people who seek the truth, and a lot of people will come to you. But you speaking about the truth is enough. It doesn't have to be a specific individual, like what you do in your platform, right? Speaking about the truth, and people will watch, people will listen, people will learn.
Right. Do you have any other? Um, I think you have a good psychoanalysis, and one thing I noticed in this conversation when you made me like answer about my decision stuff like that, I could hear like some of the flaws in my way of thinking while I was saying it because you're analyzing it from a purely Islamic point of view, and I could tell you're somebody who's on his deen and does. You definitely do good dawah. I like your videos, but do you have any more advice or what do you think that I can improve on? It'd be because I'm noticing more tests than ever right now. I've never dealt with this level of tests.
Mm. Well, I think it depends on what you want to achieve in the future, as I said, right? If you look at yourself right now, which I kind of see you trying to do in these few years, you're trying to kind of build a specific like materialistic financial thing. So in the future, you can do whatever you like to do, or you do something different. Maybe this is where I see you mentally. It all depends on what you want to do, right? If my goal is the afterlife, then there is like a big decision to take, right? Changing in what I'm doing, changing my audience and this and that can cost a lot, right? Like something like that Gideon did is something that I don't think anyone will do, right? And I think you should only do if you are 100% positive that this is the truth, that I'm doing this for the right way. And I don't think he was, because he's just learning about his religion now and he already made a decision to leave everything and this and that, right? So there, it all depends on what you want to do in life, right? You have to make that decision for yourself. Do I want to build for the afterlife the currency that is going to benefit me when I die, or do I want right now, because I'm in the streaming field, this is how I built my career, this is what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, I'm going to try to stick to that and wiggle my way around of putting Islam in a way within that community, within the mess that is taking place in the way that I try to do. So it all depends on what you're trying to do, right? But my most important advice is stop asking the wrong people about Islam. Like you cannot ask people like this person from Fresh and Fit, or other people from like Salim, or these individuals who are not who are not in the religion themselves. They're not practicing Islam, and they're not really familiar with the rules of Islam. So when you ask them sometimes questions about it, I think most of the time they will give you answers that are incorrect, and you would think that they are saying the truth. So that's the first thing. And you're also waiting for them in a way to encourage you to practice while they themselves they don't want to practice, right? So I think you should offline, doesn't have to be online. Offline, surround your people with people who are actually practicing Islam. People who encourage you, who go to you with the mosque, not going alone, because you need
Yeah,
company.
it's very
You
few.
need company.
There's almost no Muslims around. Like in Miami, there's none. I mean, I just came from the masjid. I recognize the same people for Jummah prayer every week, and we're not in the same field. I'm not around any Muslims. There's no one here. Even there, I was just like, after I left Jummah prayer, I was walking around in my thobe. People are giving me weird looks. Like it's very, because everybody's dressed up to like go to the gym. Women have crop tops. They have their breasts here. They're like their butts are out, and it's like I'm here with the thobe.
What's the guy doing here?
Yeah, I forget that I have it on. You know, it's just I'm very comfortable wearing this, but there's not a lot of people around it. And also the reason that I ask like people that grew up with Islam, like Fusi or Salim or Neon, these people they grew up with Islam, so and I'm a revert, so that they do know more than I do. But at the same time, like sometimes I notice. I remember there was a moment where Salim, we were golfing, and he was drinking on the stream, and I remember he was asking me like, "Are you a real Muslim? Are you a Muslim?" You're like, he was basically like, it was funny because he was drunk, but he was criticized, basically calling me a fake Muslim because I wasn't perfect. And so I feel when I'm around them, and the reason I ask him about it is because I do want to be better, and I even if they're not perfect, they want to see their Muslim brothers do well, and I get along with them, I think, the best.
You see, that's the part of what I was my psychoanalysis for you in the beginning. The idea of being nice and always defending people, even though I'm not criticizing them really, right? I'm not trying to criticize
No,
them,
it's
but you
okay.
would mention good. You would mention good of the people when someone talks about them, which is a good character, right? It's a good Islamic character as well, and I think it's a praiseworthy character. I'm not criticizing them, but this is the thing: you growing up with Islam means nothing if you did not practice it and left it and this and that. That means zero, nothing. The companions of the Prophet ﷺ, who we imitate and follow after the Prophet, are all of them people who accepted Islam, right? People who accepted the religion and practiced the religion in their life. It's not about accepting or not accepting. It's about the Islam itself teaches you that religion is something that you ask the people who are specialized in these fields. Like for example, when you have a heart operation, or you got like you had some pain or this or that, you're not gonna go to one of your friends, and ask him how do I feel this. And that. People treat religion differently somehow for some reason, as if it is not a speciality. It is also a field of specialty that you would require certain people who at least done some sort of studying, investigation, this and that. So when you ask these questions, they actually give you answers and give you reasoning and look at your situation as well. Because sometimes even the answer that you give will be depending on the person's situation. It's not as simple as the Quran says that, therefore I'm going to say it to you. So they have to read you in a specific way, see where you are, the type of advice that they give you. So what I'm trying to say is, like, even in the masjid, if you recognize the same people, try to get to know them. What is the problem? Perhaps you can meet them off stream, speak to them. If
The people that I do consider like good representation of Islam that are on their deen, a lot of them live in San Diego or they're constantly traveling. The people that are in my circle that are really on their deen are like people like Warner, like Sheikh Uthman, even Sartorial Shooter. I don't know if you spoke to him, but he's a revert and he's doing a great job. Like much respect to him. I know
I like him.
Andrew Tate's on his deen, but he's in Romania. There's not a lot of people. There's just not that many people in Miami, and it is what it is. It's going to be hard to find that circle. But what I am looking forward
But you
to.
see, see what you've mentioned. Every single person you mentioned is on social media. Why does the person have to be on social media?
Yeah, because the people that you spend the most time with, they end up like, look, I'm so dedicated into work that it's hard to spend time with people that aren't within my work. Like I
Okay, they
woke
don't
up,
get you.
I woke up 4 hours ago. I woke up 4 hours ago and then I'm streaming. Like this is all I do is this. Is this I train like I just go to I don't have time to really spend time with people that if they're not on the same page. Every single waking moment I do is spent working. I even like I regret and I don't get to spend enough time with my family because of how much I pour into this. So that's the reason why like it would be social media people.
My question is now, why does it have to be Miami then? Why do you have to stay in Miami is the question. What is it there that it would require you so much from your job aspect that you have to be in that specific
Because
location?
I'm a content creator and at the same time like and this is what I get it a lot from the Muslims too. They're like people right now in the chat are saying move to Dubai. Well then my job would be harder
No,
to
it
do.
doesn't have to be Dubai. No.
Well, no, actually, I plan on getting property in Dubai real soon because you get a 10-year visa and there's a lot of good things. I see it as a good place to raise a family. But you're right.
I don't think it's the right time. I don't think it's right. Everyone is doing it. The prices are inflated a lot. I think maybe thinking about it because right now I don't think it's the best financial decision to make. This is just my personal advice. If you want to do it, right? I think waiting a little bit, like maybe a couple of years or this or that, and then thinking about it is a lot better, right? And also, there's a lot of good locations like Abu Dhabi will be very close, not far, and will have a lot of the same facilities. But also there, the prices are
And
inflated, right?
there's the
So
time zone. Then when I stream, like they're not going to be there. So
no, I'm not telling you to do that. That's the difference. I'm saying you should be right now. I think you got a lot of work you can do in America, but you're not bound to be in any state because you fly most of the time. Most of what you do is in other states, like just specifically recently, I think is in other states anyway. So
I've
you'd
been in
have to
Las
fly.
Vegas 4 times this year, and it's only February. Like I go to LA all the
Yeah.
time. I'm constantly traveling, flying.
So you're always traveling. So you can be anywhere in the US. So you will do the same thing and you will travel, right? So
Yeah.
perhaps maybe finding another location that are closer to either the people that you mentioned or closer to other
Houston.
good people.
Wait, where do you
Yeah.
live?
No, I'm in the UK,
Yeah,
man. I'm
you're
in
in
a
England.
different place.
I know, but they
Yeah,
always
yeah.
recommend Houston. They say that there's like a big Muslim community there, and I think about that. But at the same time, like, and what I was gonna say is you pinpointed a good moment in my career where you could tell that I am trying to set myself up financially for the future so I could raise family, but I'm also trying to be on my deen. And it's caught in a weird place where in order to make a lot of money in the influencer world, you have to do haram things and you have to be around shaitan. So I can't. It's very difficult to be perfect and appeal to both.
Mhm.
So it is what it is. Like I would see myself staying in Miami for the near future because of what I'm doing.
Mhm. Yeah, if you continue to do what you're doing, then it does not really make sense to move, right? But to still find people is my advice. Try your best to find people because, like the individuals I mentioned, for example, you mentioned whoever. There's not. I'm not trying to talk bad about them. I don't even know them, right? But the thing is, they're not going to be the people who are giving you the good Islamic influence. If you're trying to have it offline, right? I'm not talking about online on the streaming. You will do the content online on the streaming, right? This is a different thing, right? If you're separating between the two. But yeah, always keep in mind as well, like what I was telling you from the beginning, like we're not guaranteed how long we're going to be here. Like I might have my plan, that in the future, like in the next 5 years, after the next 5 years, I'm going to be doing this and this and that. I don't even know if tomorrow I'm going to be here to talk to you again or no, You don't even know, right?
Tomorrow's not
So,
promise.
but we talk about it. Do we actually understand it? If we did actually internalize it, our behavior would reflect it because it's very important. Anyone would say, "Yeah, death is coming." People talk about it like this, but if you understand it, you will internalize it. What gave me a pivotal point in changing, like from practicing my religion a long time ago? What gave me that pivotal point was thinking about death, right? What do I want to achieve in life? What is it that I want to do, right? And as I said, we're not saying leave the worldly life, but there is ways to do the worldly life in a halal way. Like Allah, there's a good example in the Quran. Qarun, for example, is an individual who's from the past that Allah told us about. He used to be one of the richest people in the world, right? When Allah spoke about him, He said that the treasures that he had, the chests of the treasures, they had keys. Allah says the group of strong men struggled to lift the keys of the treasures, let alone what was inside the treasures, that what kind of treasures they were, etc. So he had all of this wealth, right? His people, when they advised him, they told him that seek in that which Allah has given you the afterlife, but do not forget your portion in this life. So no one is telling you leave this life. No one is telling you do not have good things, good food, good outfits, good cars. All of this is permissible. You're allowed to have it. But also understanding, trying your best to like get the money in a halal way and all of that, and use it in the way that pleases Allah the most. And as I said, look, I think you're doing good. You're improving. I see you improving in from an Islamic point of view a lot. So you are on a good path, but do not let other people around you try to strip you away from it. Because you see yourself on a good trajectory. You see all of these doubts, people around you. Okay, let's go clubbing, bar, this one night, man. Those stuff being a fake Muslim, doing this. Because those are the people around you. How they gonna speak to you, isn't it? This is how they. I'm assuming this is how they do, because they're a bad influence. Like they're already in the mud, as they say. They want to take you there as well, right? So drink, it's one night, yeah, right now there's no cameras, no one sees you, do it, right? And later on, when they're on camera, they will mention, oh, last week he was with me doing this. Right? These are the type of snakes that are in the social media community, right? So I think like I think we should be very, very careful of people who. This is why you need good surroundings. I'm telling you, you're good. You have a good heart, but people around you, they would use it against you. You would not use it for you. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and look, as I said, the Muslims, they should have more support, should understand your situation. Like right now, I given this analysis for them to understand a little bit. Things are not as easy as telling Sneeko do this, and that, and then he's gonna start doing what you're telling him, because he has his own kind of life. He's got all of these different valuables that you're not seeing, just as a layman viewer, and you think that, oh, do this, do that. You don't know what is going on in his life, right? So I'm just trying to put this also for the Muslims watching to see, okay, this is his life, this is his trajectory, this is where he's going. And you definitely have a lot of non-Muslims who go in your comments and say haram and all of these different things because they find it fun. They see reactions. They're not even Muslims. They don't care.
no.
They don't care. But they see that you have a specific reaction towards it, so they behave as if they're actually Muslim, right? So I think, yeah, not to worry too much about what people comment, because it's not really a reflection of even
I know.
Muslims or what people.
A lot of the time I don't. It's just funny. Like they say something, I get angry. Like it's all.
Yeah,
fun.
I get it. Yeah, so it's your
all
thing
fun.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, but I will probably have to like go, because like it's 12 o'clock.
I know.
here,
Thank you for staying up so late,
Mm.
Muslim Lads. I really appreciate it, man. Salam alaikum. And I want to ask you quickly: is saying Jumal
Yes.
Mubarak, is that bidah?
Well, you can say it occasionally, but not every time, literally every Jum'ah. You can say occasionally, it's fine. There's no problem, because Jum'ah is considered Eid. It's a day of celebration.
Oh, so it's
you
fine.
can say
Okay.
it. Yeah, you can say
People in the
it.
chat were asking about that, but thank you for staying up so late. I really do appreciate your time. I would like to speak to you again soon. I like your content, like your videos. I'm going to keep reacting to that. Keep doing good work, man. I appreciate it, man.
Inshallah.
Have a
Inshallah,
great
and
night.
as I said, I like you as a brother. You're very good. If I was in the US, I wouldn't mind spending time with you, but I'm far right now, and I don't like the US, to say
I don't
the
blame
truth,
you. I don't blame you.
Yeah. All right, inshallah. Khalas. If we can talk in the future, we can. Anyways, you got my contact. If you need anything, let me know, inshallah. And for everyone in the chat, I hope that Allah Azza wa look, simple advice. Just pick up the Quran, man, read it. You have nothing to lose. I've read the Bible, man. Like I'm not scared of the Bible. The Bible is not gonna bite me if I touch it. Just get a Quran, read it, try to see what it says. Maybe like does it say all of the goats and sheep that you think about every day? Does it talk about different things, right? Pick up a copy of the Quran, read, investigate, and look. My live stream, anyone can come. Anyone from any religion, from any faith, from any, it doesn't matter who you are. Anyone can join, because I put the link publicly for people. If you have questions, you're welcome to come and ask, right? Pick up a Quran, read, investigate, try to find where you are in life, And may Allah guide us all, Okay, brother. Inshallah, it was nice talking to you. I'll
Great.
go right now.
Salam
inshallah.
alaikum. Have a great night.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Whoa, bro, look how long that was. My camera's all dark. What happened to the heaven stuff? Oh, let me get it back. Good. www. Everybody in there. Everybody in there. We got Owen Benjamin coming on in a bit. I need to pee. We still have a lot more to react to, so we got a lot to get into. We just getting started. That was a good collab, man. It was refreshing to hear him. He's smart, bro. He had a good analysis of everything, and he was able to. Bro, it's sometimes when people get to see right through you, it's very funny.